Inshallah and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. And as always, welcome back to Musing with Tanya D podcast. I am your host. My name is Tanya D. I'm a practicing holistic shaman, medium, an otherworldly life coach, and a subtle energetic surgeon, a reflector by human design. And yes, I've known I'm a reflector for quite some time, since before I actually started my podcast. Either way, my intention truly is to utilize the power of indigenous technologies, wisdom, ancient wisdom of our bones down to our original divine blueprint to really navigate through our soul's harmonic, the realm of the elementals, the elemental highway, into and through the imaginal realm, the shaman's portal. And welcome to the season of that, by the way, Scorpio. Really reintroducing you to the magical being that I truly believe heartfelt resides within each and every one of us. This energy blueprint is unique and individual, and I would call it our divine blueprint, really, to really raise our frequency to our prime directive, your inner genius. I do call myself a holistic shaman medium, which is just a choreography of each and everything, and welcome to my podcast, Medicine Room. And I do go live on YouTube at Tanya D for a daily, weekly snippet, if that makes sense. I used to go live daily, but now I'm on the weekly. I generally talk about the element of the week. I believe that's our foundation. I do a moon or two meditations about the moon as a reflector and ritual. I've now added a ritual to my medicine room episode for meditations. I share the element of the day that generally comes from the 4 pillars, but also the Dagara cosmology and technology. I believe the elemental realm is part of our foundation. That's why I created the rising of the origins, and that's a gateway into the realm of our own personal elemental highway. Now, a lot of curious minds are wondering why that's so very important. Just even a small understanding of your elemental foundation, that's when you can really utilize the elementals for healing, manifesting, and so much more. And when your elemental foundation is balanced and in alignment with your gift and just living your purpose, your prime directive, that's where everything starts choreographing a new energetic frequency for us and through us. And it really activates the spirit that resides within each and every one of us. We got to bring spirit into the body to be embodied. Our spirit needs to be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and so much more merged with our body, climbing into our skin. But I also share insights with the subtle energies, the bodies, the fields, insights, and a lot more. Being a seer to the unseen as a reflector and also in the Dagara cosmology. But I do hope that your heart is shining bright and everlasting and really inspired and just loving the season of the witches. And this week's audio room artist is Shelley Poovey. Shelley is a coaching federation professional, a certified coach in health and peak performance. She's got a master's of science in health, human performance from Pacific College, and a random variety of actually health sciences, I must add. But she offers a 360-degree approach that really taps into your wellspring of energy vitality with great ease. So instead of just tackling the symptoms as problems to fix and observing them as the stories that our body is sharing and trying to speak to us, by honoring the story, shifting focus to creating the optimal conditions for nourishing a life, a deep, personal, empowered relationship to health and vitality, and cultivating this to transform those challenges into opportunities for growth along with transformation. However, she does specialize in coaching and mentoring conscious business owners to really align their goals with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning, while at the same time tapping into the wisdom of the subtle energies to expand their entrepreneurial endeavors. She really loves working with energy healing practitioners. She's got a wealth of information from her 20 plus years in the health and wellness industry. And as a healer, she likes to bring in her coaching and certification programs. So with all of that, let's welcome Shelley Poovey to the stage in my audio medicine room. How are you doing today, Shelley?
Yeah, I'm great, Tanya. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. Let's dive in. So how did you dive into this kind of work?
Wow, where do I even begin? I don't know. I think it was a little bit gradual over time. a little bit of awakening to the fact that I was maybe repressing, that I was maybe always a little bit sensitive to subtle energy, subtle information, seeing things and knowing things as a child and not knowing that I wasn't supposed to. And there is a little bit of that in our family, sort of a little family characteristic of being a little bit sensitive, a little bit of being able to pick up on the subtle. And when I started sort of exploring psychology in college, even though it was more science based, when I was in school studying visual perception, audio perception, the brain, I became much more interested in psychology in general, more curious and exploring. And I got actually introduced to the ideas of Carl Jung and the psyche. And I got much more interested in consciousness, how man makes meaning. Got really interested in the concept of the collective unconscious and symbols and how humans make meaning in life. And it really created a platform for me to feel a little bit more safe to explore my dream, my active dreams and the symbolism in my dreams. And over time, I got introduced to energy healing. That's when I realized, when I started getting energy healing sessions, which was just through a mutual friend, somebody was practicing. They took a class and they needed people to practice on, and she could sort of talk to my body and it got information. She was sensitive the way that I was. She was getting information as well. Those gifts started to wake up a little bit. I became a little less repressed around those gifts. And gosh, that was probably easily 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
So let's dive in a little deeper. So what is, in your perception, I guess, what is integrative energy anatomy?
Integrative energy anatomy. It's a lot of words to digest there. Integrative energy anatomy. Through my own explorations of subtle energy, subtle information, I started to recognize that I feel like these are gifts that everyone has. And maybe people aren't tapping into it because they're sort of living in a little bit of like a heightened state, kind of active in more of just sort of everyday thinking. Their brain waves and their brain states are sort of just locked into certain patterns. And when the mind unlocks, when the body becomes more relaxed and we can access different brainwave states, then the subtle energy is correlated to these deeper states of relaxation where there's more happening. Our body, for instance, when it goes into delta brainwaves at night when we sleep, is when our body does a lot of rejuvenation, repair of inflammation and healing the immune system. Our body is doing things in these other states that it doesn't do, right? When it's in its more mundane, active brainwave state of checking your email and making phone calls and being stuck in traffic. And the body is doing things in these states as well. And as the deeper states of relaxation wake up, these systems get online. So there's sort of a body-mind connection to this concept of subtle energy. It's not just this abstract thing out there that you're going to get. Energy isn't something out there that you're bringing in. It's an awakening of something that's from within you. And accessing that can sometimes be just a matter of coming into maybe meditation or different states of relaxation that allow those states of being to wake up.
I was just going to ask you, I was like, well, I mean, I can do dream states in my waking state just as much as in a meditative state. So it's not just at nighttime, right? I mean, can't we access all these brain waves during the day just as much as we do at night? Or is it that's where you feel like it peaks the most?
I think it's easiest to access and understanding through the concept of sleep, because the conscious mind is out to lunch. It's checked out during sleep, where the deeper levels of the functions of the body can occur. But to your point, exactly, one can learn how to access these brainwave states in waking as well, with a little bit of training. And that's, to me, the integrative energy anatomy course that I run, and my interest in that has to do with exactly that, of being able to take what you're capable of at night when you're asleep, when your conscious mind is sort of out of the picture, and be able to access that while you are conscious.
So in this integrative energy anatomy, I almost said academy. So are you mostly working through the different brain states and dream states for this energy anatomy? Is that kind of, I want to call it your prime directive?
Yeah, I think so. I think of it as a sort of a curious exploration rather than like a course that you're learning something like through your academically. It's more of an experiential exploration of the possibility of awakening these brainwave states and experiencing them, in a supported format with other people who are trying it out. And, there's a facilitator there. So we kind of work together to explore what it's like and to explore what comes up, questions that can come up from being in those states. What does this mean, or what's happening? How do I understand this? The biggest thing, the reason I call it an integrative energy anatomy, is how do I integrate what I'm experiencing into my life?
So how does this relate to life purpose?
What I find is once people do start to open up and realize I am way more than I was giving myself credit for, I can access these brainwave states for healing, for a deeper connection to my inner wisdom, my intuition, for manifestation, bringing about positive change. This is real. This is a whole deeper layer of my being than I even imagined was capable. What do I do with this? It works. So if I can manifest anything I want, how do I choose? How do I make a choice about what to manifest? And what I find is it really helps open up and tap into this sense of alignment with your inner guidance of, we'll call it life purpose. I think of life purpose rather than a destination as actually a state of being, access of all the gifts, and being able to be present in the moment, full of light and love and connection. What more purpose is there to a certain degree when you're fully there? But once people become a little more awake and alive to their potential, there's a sense of wanting to make a difference. Well, how do I use this? How do I apply this in a way? I'm no longer a victim in this world at large. I'm no longer just a little pinball being bopped along in the pinball machine of life. Like, I have agency. I have much more power than I've given myself credit for. So how do I apply this in a way that gives my life more of a sense of meaning and agency to create the world maybe in a better way than we've already created it? How can I make a positive contribution?
So, like, how do you merge the two between life purpose and the peak performance, the coaching that you incorporate? How do you like merge the two together?
I think of peak performance as what we were talking about, being able to go into and out of these different brainwave states to access different capacities. Each person, peak performance isn't some externalized objective place of heightened performance. It's more of an internalized. Each individual's peak performance is going to be a little bit different. How do I take what I'm experiencing and what's awakening in me and apply that more fully with my unique gifts, with my unique way of being, right? That's going to be different for each person. Each person has a unique set of gifts, is going to access these states. Everybody can access the states, but then what happens in those states and the way you apply it can be different.
Absolutely. So I was just musing in the Dagara cosmology, everybody has a gift and a purpose, and people born in different years have a different cosmology of their gift and purpose, their light, their brilliance they bring to the world. Meladoma calls it our inner genius. And I was just musing in my mind because that's kind of the dream states are people that are part of the fire clan, sourcing the other world, dreams, visions. So I was just musing how that, and yeah, it does play out in the other elementals as well. So how long is your program?
It's about 3 months. So we meet every week, 12 weeks.
How long are the sessions? So is it weekly, like on Wednesdays for an hour?
Yeah, it's weekly on Tuesdays for an hour and a half. The format of the program is you'll get every week sort of a pre-recorded lecture and a meditation that you can kind of come in ready with. And then we'll maybe take that time to workshop, do a group meditation, explore, brainstorm, share, and then what's coming up. Deep dived into my eighth chakra an awakened, my inner mystic, and how do I want to bring that with me into my life, what's going on for me right now, and really in a supportive format where all the group members can kind of mirror each other and listen. And what I hear in my practice is that people can often feel lonely when their gifts awaken, a feeling like, I need to connect with other people who are working with this, working on this. I want to not just be kind of bumping through life unconsciously. And I'm seeing that mirrored in the people around me, that I'm starting to wake up, and I feel like I'm around people who are not quite as conscious. Where do I connect with people who are on this level and wanting to connect to that application? So we work together that way in a kind of a healing circle format and help with integrating it.
So your format it's for 12 weeks, you said, weekly?
Yes.
So did they get replays, something they can revisit later? And it sounds like there's some Q&A, social sharing is kind of the word that popped in my mind.
Yeah, everybody will have recordings of the group calls and the lectures and the meditations, and we'll have a group discussion format off, that we can connect to all the time through the 3-month program to just pop in and connect with each other. There's a part of this that's looking at where is that continuum between source and self? Where is that continuum, and how to integrate that through the physical realm all the way back to the subtlest of subtlest energies. And in that format, there might be a lot of things that are coming up on the day to day. How do I integrate this with a ritual, for example, is a big piece that I want to explore. We're going to be working a lot with the quantum properties of water and looking at water as having consciousness, and the fact that we are at a molecular level 99.999% water, and how that plays into a sense of interconnectedness with others and also with the cosmos, that it's not this abstract idea that we're connected at that molecular level to the farthest reaches of the cosmos, how to expand out into that, and then also bring it back into, okay, well, how do I work with connecting to a sense of life purpose as that expression here through maybe programming water, blessing water, or just even, having a daily contemplation of what that is. And in that regard, to have a group that you're connecting with on a daily basis through the discussion group, and to be able to repeat the meditations, go deeper through the whole time. And even after the program is over, everyone will get to keep all the recordings and all the material, that you'll get to have that forever.
So who would you recognize that this is for?
I think it's for people who are curious about subtle energy and how to work with it in a practical way in everyday life, how to bring that into having more meaningful relationships, having a greater sense of a capacity for self-care and connection.
So how would you define subtle energy?
I think of subtle energy as, I'll talk about it from the point of view of the program, the integrative energy anatomy. We're really looking at it as the biological functions that can happen when someone is in a deep state of well-being, and a deep state of peace, and a deep state of safety, that it does awaken physiologically in the body, states that one may not be able to access in more sort of fight, flight, or day-to-day active, again, stuck in traffic kind of mode. I think throughout the program, we're going to use that as a starting point of appreciating it from a more practical point of view, from a mind-body point of view. And then out of that, really expand in through our experiences in the program, expand out into what might be there beyond. Subtle information fields interacting, and how we're a part of that sea of consciousness all the time in a conscious universe.
Absolutely. What would somebody who's participating expect to get out of this? Like the end result?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to explore the nature of the question of life purpose. People who have a sense of life purpose, who have a sense of connection to something larger than them, tend to have better quality of life, they have better quality health, just better life outcomes in general. In my practice, encounter people who maybe feel disconnected to a sense of purpose, of I don't know what my purpose is. They feel a little lost. So I think it's for people who are sort of in that place of, I don't know, I want to have a life purpose, or I feel like there is something for me, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite clear about what that is. I want to explore that. I want to explore the nature of myself and who I really am. And especially for people who feel like there's a sense of what you're capable of, but you're not manifesting that your life that you're living isn't reflecting who you feel like you really are. How to let that inner light and that inner sense of who you are come out and be a little bit more expressed in your lived experience.
So are you keeping this program to like a minimum and a maximum amount of people?
I'm not, but I'm not going to cap this program, but I would expect there to be, a smaller group. This is the first time I'm offering the program. I'm just getting the word out. So usually when I start a new program, it's a little bit smaller in the beginning. So if you like that more one-on-one small group connection, I would expect this program to have, maybe 10 to 12 people at the most between now and in January, probably. Yeah.
So is there anything else your heart desires to share with my listeners, my audience?
Just if you have any questions for me as I shared the program, if anything kind of sparked for you a little deeper.
Perfect. So I will have all of Shelley's info in the show notes so you can connect with her on various social channels, Facebook, Instagram, and check out her website as well. And with that, I will see you on the other side. Ashe, blessings. And if this episode inspired you in some magical way, please take a screenshot of you listening, tuning in on your device, post it to your Instagram stories, tagging at the Tanya D, or whatever social channel that you browse. And also, if your heart feels called to donate to the Musing with Tanya D podcast, the season of the witches, to keep this momentum flowing, that too is down below. And as always, I'll see you on the other side. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Blessings.